What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out this video. Today we're going to look at a bike from Amp Rides. It's called the Apex. It's a 20x4 fat tire bike with dual suspension, and it packs a serious punch in the power department. Let me tell you more about it. All right, folks, there she is, the Amp Rides Apex. Dual suspension, big battery pack, really big motor, lots of power, tons of fun to ride. Check the website this morning. It was on pre-order, going for $26.99, and then you had free shipping. Obviously, we've got kind of a maroon red type color here. The ones I saw on pre-order were either black or white as the color options. But let me start walking you through some of the components up close, and we can kind of talk about the ride experience as we go. First off, you got 20x4 fat tires, and they're the Kenda Crusade tires. One of my favorite tires for a couple reasons. Number one is that it's kind of an aggressive looking tread pattern on it, but they're pretty quiet on the pavement. So I do like that a lot. And they don't have the reflective ring around the outside edge. I never liked the reflective ring, and these were just plain black. So I like the look of the tires on the bike, the wheels as well, because they've got these punch outs in them, which, I mean, I call them punch outs. Some people call them like suspension holes. I don't know how much suspension that really adds to the bike, and you've got full suspension anyway, so you don't need that. But I always like when these little punch outs are in here with the red showing through. It kind of gives it a little bit of a extra flair, makes it a little flashier looking. So I'm digging the wheel and tire package on the Apex bike. If I spin around to this side, you can see that it's a quick release front wheel, and you've got oversized rotor here on the front. It's a 203 millimeter disc on the front. It's a 180 on the back, but it's 203s up front, and they are Tektro Hydraulic Brakes. Awesome braking. No complaints at all. Plenty of braking power on the Apex. Let's drop down, check out the forks. The brand on it is Exsho, I guess, E-X-S-H-O, I believe that says right there. And I didn't have any trouble with the forks. They seem to work just fine. They've got this adjustment knob here on the top. When I first started riding, I was bottoming out the forks pretty easily. And I just twisted this all the way until it was locked out, and then backed it off a few clicks, and that really stiffened up the front suspension for me and had no trouble from there on out. One thing I really do like about these forks is the double shoulder, or the double crown. I think it really gives it more of a motorcyclish, cooler look from the front end. The only drawback to that is you can see you got these rubber pieces here that protect from the fork hitting the frame, and it kind of limits your turning radius just a little bit. I really don't notice it out riding the bike at all. You only really notice that is if you're trying to turn the bike around in a small space, like in your shed, in your garage, or if you're on a tight trail and you're trying to do a complete 180. Yeah, you lost some steering radius, but other than that, you really don't notice it out riding the bike. But I do think it adds to the look, makes it look a little sharper. It kind of makes these obsolete though. You've got these mounting points on the front, maybe for like a front basket, but you would not be able to mount anything there because it's gonna run into the fork as the handlebars turn. So I'm not sure what you use those mounting points for, actually. So you got headlight at the front, and then at the back, you do have a taillight, brake light, and turn signals all integrated into one, and your little switches up here on the handlebars to control all your lighting. You can see we got BMX style handlebars on the Apex, gave me pretty good control of the front end. And I kind of want to back up there and just talk about the ride positioning on the Apex. I have a couple clips here to show you. The first one is of me getting on the bike at the minimum seat height, which is 31.5 inches. And I felt really big on this bike. I mean, I could stand over the seat with lots of room. The seat goes really low, great for shorter riders. Next, I put the seat up to about where I was riding it around during my testing and where I was comfortable. And then the final clip I have of me getting on the bike at maximum seat height, which is like 39.5 inches. So the seat definitely goes high enough where someone like me, 6 feet tall, can get a lot of leg room on the bike. However, the handlebar height from ground to top of the handlebars is about 43 inches, and I felt like I wanted that higher. There's no adjustment in the handlebar to raise them up at all. You'd have to buy a handlebar riser, a stem riser to put right in there, and then you could lift them up. And I would probably, if I was gonna make this my daily rider, that's probably what I would do, to lift the handlebars up in the air a little bit. The best way that I could describe that feeling, my hands felt low, like they were down at my waist when I was riding. So it kind of feels like I'm riding on top of the bike as opposed to riding like in the bike, down in the bike. So hopefully you know what I mean by that. Also had my wife, who is 5'4", try the bike. She could get on this Apex, no problem, with feet perfectly flat on the ground. I mean, it's not very common that she can do that on the electric bikes. Normally she's kind of tiptoeing them, but I mean, this seat goes so low. it's great for shorter riders. I mean, she had no issue at all getting feet perfectly flat on the ground, which is where she likes to be, and was in a good position to ride comfortably around town. Let's move on to the battery pack, which is hidden here inside the frame. It drops out the front. So you put the key in the other side, turn the little release lever, and the battery will pop out the front of the bike. And it's a big battery pack, 52 volt, 25 amp hour battery pack. And I believe they also offer this Apex bike with a dual battery pack option. If you get the dual packs, they put the second battery pack inside the rear rack. There's a different, like, you know, custom rear rack that holds a battery. So I think you can get up to like 40 or 45 amp hours of battery pack total on this Amp Rides Apex, which is a lot. Keep in mind though, if you get that dual battery option, you're really going to increase your weight on this bike. As it sits right here with the single battery option, this bike weighed in at 92 pounds on my scale. So it is not a lightweight bike. Keep that in mind if you would all have to lift your e-bike. But let's cruise back up to the handlebar controls. I want to show you everything going on up here. You've got locking leather grips with a palm rest. It's kind of got this gel pad in the palm rest, which was pretty comfy. It's a 7-speed trigger shifters, your turn signal button, your horn button. This controls all your display. You do have a headlight button there as well, and it comes with a left-hand thumb throttle. Let me turn your display on for you. KD986 display, I believe is the model number of it. Gives you everything you need. You know, your battery life, speed, trip meter, pretty good looking display. Pretty programmable as well. If you go into the settings, you can set your number of pedal assist. So let's just go into the basic settings first, which your trip reset, wheel size, speed limit. I did max it out. 36 is as high as it would let me set it. So, and that's about what the max speed of this is. If I go back and go to advanced settings next, you can see you can pick your number of pedal assist levels. I have it set for 0 to 5, and if you hit the I button and go into it, you can pick how much power is delivered in each setting, you know, 25% up to 100%. So you got some great programmability in the screen. You can also set the slow start if you want to take off a little bit slower. So great display. I like this display. I was able to see it even with my polarized sunglasses on. It's a little bit of a darker display though. And if you're curious, I did not see a USB port on the display, but it came with a little pigtail that you plug into the back of the display and has a USB pigtail that comes off. So if that's important to you, you need to charge something up on your handlebars there, you've got that option. All right, let's drop down to one of the highlights of this bike. Full suspension, 4-link suspension. That's not something you really see a lot on a 20x4 fat tire bike. Some of them will have a suspension shock, but rarely is it like this 4-bar, 4-link type suspension. And it was great. It was so smooth, so comfy. It's a D&M shock. It's not an air shock, just a, you know, spring shock, so you don't have to worry about doing any air adjustments to it. And the way you adjust this is you just grab a hold of it and spin it, turn it. That'll adjust your compression, and then this little red dial up here is going to adjust the rebound, how fast it bounces back up. And I didn't really monkey with it all that much. It was set up pretty good right from the factory for my weight, 180 pounds. So it was a really cushy ride. I enjoyed the suspension. I was able to adjust both the front and the back to my liking, and it was pretty smooth. That's definitely a standout feature on this Apex. If we take a look at the gearing, they nailed it with the gearing. Great job, Amp Rides. 56 tooth front chainring, double-sided aluminum guard on there. So 56 tooth up front, 1134 in the back. Always had plenty of feeling in the pedals, even at maximum speed. You know, 35 miles an hour, still had pedal feeling. So great, you never ghost pedal this, that's what you want. So great gearing setup. It does come with rack and fenders included. Fenders are metal, paint matched to the bike, and rear rack looks pretty nice, pretty sturdy. So I was pleased with that. It does say up on there, maximum 25 kgs. So what's it, about 50 pounds or so on the rear rack? Now hanging out on the back side of your suspension here is your controller. And this is a 40 amp controller. That's big if you don't know. 40 amp controller is like one of the biggest you can get. Normally bikes will come with like 22, maybe 25. So that's sending a lot of juice back to that motor, and it's mounted really, really securely on there. It's just bolted right into this metal plate they've got welded to the back of the seat tube. So that's going nowhere. I like how that's mounted. It doesn't have any kind of protective box or anything around it, but I did see on the website they labeled it as a waterproof controller. So hopefully it is, because you're probably gonna get a little bit of a splash coming from the back tire there. So 40 amp controller, and that's going back to your big rear motor. This, it says on it, HT, hang tie motor. So it's the one that's got the reinforced steel gears inside it. A lot of power, a lot of power. Where to start? Okay, so let's start here. This bike is going to ship to you as a Class 2 bike. 750 watts and 20 miles an hour. There's a lot more room to play with though. If you can go in the settings and you can unlock it, but if you go in there and unlock it for off-road use, you know, that responsibility is on you. They're going to send it to you as Class 2. If you open it up, you accept responsibility for that. I of course did that. I wanted to see what the maximum performance was. When you change the settings, it frees up a lot of power. I was regularly seeing the display peak 2200 watts. You're going to get 2000 plus watts out of this bike when it's in its off-road mode. It is very powerful. It is a ton of fun, ton of hill climb power. I took a bunch of performance footage of top speeds and hill climbs and everything to show you. So let's take a look at that. All right, let's try a top speed run on the Apex. This speed run's about a little bit of flat ground and then it turns into a slight downhill. So hopefully you can see those speedometers there. Up to 28. 30, 33 on the flat, 34, so 34 on flat ground. Now we get into a little bit of a downhill. Still holding at 34, 35. There you go, the Apex tops out about 34 miles per hour. The bike's display was right on the money with GPS. They were almost identical. All right, hill climb test. Just frame of reference, the 750 watt fat tire e-bikes climb the hill in about 22 to 25 seconds. With this big motor, this bike should crush that. I'm expecting it to be probably under 20 seconds. So let's give it a go. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, go. Really strong pull off the line. With absolute ease, it's crushing this hill. A lot of power in this bike, a lot of power. Not even skipping a beat. And time. That was quick. This bike's got a lot of juice. That was a quick time. Now let's do a quick acceleration test. This bike has a really good hit off the line, and see if we can keep a close eye on that watt meter, show you where it's peaking in terms of watts. I've been seeing it over 2200, but let's do a 0 to 20. 3, 2, 1, go. 20. That was pretty quick. Pretty quick. But I definitely see the watt meter climbing in the 2100, 2200 mark. 22, 40, 21, 44. It's got some great output on power. This is a very powerful bike. Now, whenever I got a really powerful bike like this, I always like to show it on this type of hill. This is a 28% hill right next to the staircase, and I'm gonna try to go up this thing just throttle only, no pedaling, and see how she does. Let's give it a shot. All right, let's circle back around here. I'm not gonna get much of a run at it, maybe just a couple miles an hour. So we'll get it up to 6 miles an hour, turn and go right up. No pedaling, no problem. Right up the hill. Right up the hill, no sweat. Let's do it one more time. Maybe we'll even go a little slower. Try to go straight up the hill. Just starting from an all-out dig. There you go. Right up. That's these bikes with these 1500 watt, 2000 watt motors. I mean, holy cow. There's power for days in these things. There's no way you can even come close going up this hill with just pedaling without the motor. Like no chance at all. But right up, no problem. But 100%, this is a bike that can keep up in 25 mile an hour traffic, like in town. Because you can hit that easy, and you can even go into the 30s. So you want an around the town bike that can ride in traffic comfortably without even pedaling it, this one would do that. You can definitely hear the motor though. The motor's pretty loud for a hub, or a hub motor, and it's significantly louder than some others that I've heard, probably because I bet this one has the metal gears in it. which those tend to be a little bit louder. Plenty of power to take off from the stops. I mean, we got through the intersection faster than that car did. Right up to speed, no problem. We're going 25, we're going the speed limit right there. All right, I'm still figuring out the pedal assist system here. It looks like it's speed based. So pedal assist 1 takes me to 7 miles an hour, and then it kind of cuts out. Nothing more out of the throttle. Pedal assist 2, that carries you up to like 12 miles an hour and cuts out. No more out of the throttle. Yeah, 12 cuts out. Pedal assist 3. Okay, that goes a lot further. 21. Pedal assist 3 takes you to 21 miles an hour. And you do have more out of the throttle there. So it looks like after you get the pedal assist 3, the throttle just opens right up. Okay. Now let's try pedal assist 4. Holy cow. All right, so that's gonna take you, does it ever cut out? 29:30. All right, so I don't think pedal assist 4 ever cut out. So once you get to level 4, you're kind of unlimited. Once you get to pedal assist 3, the throttle opens up pretty unlimited, but it looks like it's speed based for the first couple. And I did see in the settings that there was some options to change if you want 3 levels, 5 levels, 7 levels, 9 levels, however many you want. And also you can adjust the power in each. So it looks like it should be pretty programmable as far as pedal assist goes. All right, let's test the speed here. I'm in 7th gear. We have really good gear ratios, so I shouldn't lose feeling. I mean, you can comfortably pedal at 34, 35, 36. There's so much power at your disposal, and suspension's so nice that you end up just maybe riding it more aggressively. I guess. I don't know. Whoa! Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This thing has got some power to blast through here. Gosh. This is like the thickest grass you're ever going to be in. Something drove through here though. Look how matted it is. These tire tracks. Yeah, bikes like this, I always like it because you don't have to pedal off-road. It really is like a little lightweight motorcycle off-road. I don't know where these tire tracks go to. This is some deep grass though. Holy cow. I can give you a sense of what we're dealing with here. I can't even get the kickstand down in it. There. But you want a little lightweight off-road motorbike. So cool. The color is growing on me a little bit. I didn't really like the red at first, but it does look good set next to the green grass. Now how do I get out of here? Let's get our kickstand up. I want to follow these tracks. I think they went this way. I can't see anything coming. Hopefully there's no giant holes in here. Are we gonna circle back? I think so. Maybe. Just plowing through. Ow. That one was sharp. No idea where I came in at. I feel like I'm off the path now. Yeah, we're just... There we go. That's like where I came in, I think. Whew. Maybe the bigger wheels are better for that. You're up out of the grass higher. Okay, off-road complete. Really good suspension though. I mean, It's not an air shock, it's just a coil spring, but this is comfy. I mean, it's really absorbing a lot of this. And you can right hear that everything rattling and how big a bumps are hitting there. Well, I didn't even get up off the seat. All right, well, hopefully those clips give you a little bit better feeling of what it's like to be behind the bars of this Apex bike. I mean, it's a thrilling ride. You got a lot of speed, you got a lot of hill climb power, it keeps up in traffic, it was able to plow through all the deep grass on the off-road section. I mean, there's a lot to like about this bike. So let's cover that now. Let's go over some likes, some dislikes about the Apex. So my likes would be, obviously, speed, power, acceleration. It's got lots of that. The suspension was great. It's a very squishy, soft suspension. You can adjust it. I was able to get the forks and the rear suspension adjusted to my liking. The gearing, they nailed it with the gearing. 56 and then 1134. Had feeling in the pedals all the way up to max speed. The brakes were great. 203 rotors up front, 180 in the back, plenty of stopping power. Another thing I like about this is it's very accessible. You got a low seat height, goes down to 31.5, and that's even with this like really thick seat. If you put a thinner seat on this bike, you could probably get it down under 31, which is great. There's not that many that go that low. So if you're looking for more of a performer, performance-based bike that's you're able to get on when you're 5'3" or 5'4", here's an option for you. You also got the step through here too, so you don't have to swing your leg over the rear rack if you're not able to do that. Now, as far as dislikes go, I think a lot of my dislikes are just kind of personal preference things. Like I would change out the seat. I'd probably want a wider, softer seat. This one's pretty firm, but I didn't really notice it all that much riding because you got the cushy rear suspension. So, but you know, everybody's gonna swap out to the seat that they like. So I would swap the seat. I would change the pedals as well. These are folding pedals. I don't know why there's folding pedals on a bike that doesn't fold, but I find these to be just a little bit slipperier. So I would put on different pedals. The color, although the red is growing on me, actually, I would probably order black or white. Probably black first, then white. So again, personal preference there. I'm a twist throttle guy, so I would be swapping out this thumb throttle and putting on a twist throttle instead. And I think the other thing for me that I would change probably almost immediately would be the handlebar height. I'd put in a stem riser right here, like a 3-inch stem riser, lift those handlebars up higher. And I've done that with countless bikes where I just kind of want the handlebars higher. I like to be very upright ride position. So I'd swap that out, put on, you know, the riser to get the bars up in the air and feel more like I'm sitting down in the bike instead of the feeling of sitting on top of the bike. So that's what I would change. But when I think about negatives, I think about the common complaints that people have about these electric bikes. And the common complaints are build quality, range, accessibility, power, and weight. And I think AMP kind of handled most of those common complaints. I mean, build quality, I beat the snot out of this thing. I rode it hard. I really tested this thing and nothing broke, nothing loosened up on me. So I think that kind of confirmed the build quality. I don't see any issues with build quality on it. I haven't had any issues, so I think you're good there. Range, they give you a really big battery pack right from the start. 52 volt, 25 amp hour. That's a large battery pack. And they also offer this in a dual battery option. So they've got you covered on the complaint of range, accessibility. They nailed it there. It's a very short bike, easy to get on. Power, I mean, they gave you twice the amount of power you need. So you're fine with power. You're gonna be able to climb hills with ease on this thing. And the last one's weight. I think that's the only one maybe they missed the mark on is in terms of complaints. People always say, oh, these bikes are so heavy. Yeah, I mean, this bike weighs 92 pounds. We're talking about a big battery pack, a big motor, and you know, complete dual suspension. That's some weight. So you just got to be prepared for that going in and know that you're gonna have to manage the 90-pound bike. And keep in mind too, if you get the dual battery option where they put the second battery in the rear rack, I mean, it's gonna be even heavier. You're gonna be over 100 pounds probably with that one. All right, folks, that's the Apex from AMP Rides. Let AMP know in the comments what you think and check out this bike at ampridesusa.com. I'll link it below. Thank you to AMP Rides for giving me a chance to ride and test this bike and put all this information out here for you to use. I hope you found it informative, helpful, at least entertaining. If you did, consider hitting subscribe. Put your questions down below too. I'll try to answer those for as long as I got the bike. And again, thank you all so much for watching.